Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you guys how to do a lace wig install over medium length locks. Now I will be showing you how I'll do the braid down and also of course me installing and styling the wig. And today's hair is provided by Tinashe Hair. Now this is a 26-inch red wig. It's burgundy but it's red, at the same time, so it's like a bright burgundy. And today I'll be using my God Sister Dread as our model for today. And the style that we will be doing will be a side part with a swoop with the cut layers. But before we get into the styling and installing the wig, I want to show you guys how I do my braid down. Now, what I do, sometimes I do it differently every time. Sometimes I do like 6 braids, but today I only did 4. And the focus is to just get the top part as flat as possible. So I don't always start the braid from the very front. I kind of pull the hair towards like the middle of the head at the top, and then I start to plait it downwards, and then I plait the ends down, and sometimes I secure it with the rubber band. And then once I get all of the plaits in, I will show you guys how I sew everything down in the back. That way when I actually do her installation, it's nice and flat. And as I mentioned, I sometimes do 4, sometimes I do 6, but today I only did 4 braids. And now that I have all of those braided down, I'm just going to take some needle and thread and just sew everything down flatly. Now, you do want to keep pay attention to where you actually sewing it, because you don't want to sew the dread high up and it's at the top of the head and it shows bulkiness. So you just kind of want to play with the placement of where you're going to put the plaits, and that way you can just go ahead and sew it down to make it as flat as possible. Now keep in mind, it's not going to be flat like as if they didn't have locks at all, especially at this length or longer. But you just want to kind of like disguise it the best way you can. That way when you actually do like a frontal or closure install or whatever like that, the top is flat. It might be a little bulkiness in the back, but nothing too crazy or too noticeable. And that's why I always recommend for different clients that have locks of what styles they should get or could get that will really disguise it. So sometimes at this length they can still get straight hair and it's flat. They could get curly, of course, and it's flat. And then sometimes if the person's hair is longer, they will most likely have to stick with curly hair, curly wigs, or curly frontals, curly closures, bundles like that. But nevertheless, now that I had her all braided down, I just went ahead and did her ball cap, and now we're going to begin to install the actual lace. And as I mentioned already, the style will be a side part suit with the cut layers. And this was her Valentine's Day look. I'm a little late as far as posting it, but this was her V-Day look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place that wig onto her head. And another thing I want to say, every person who has locks cannot get a wig, okay? Every person who has locks cannot get a wig. One, because your dress could be thicker. Two, the length of your hair. Like, it's certain styles that certain people could get. With her today, she was able to get the wig because one, her locks are medium length and they're not that thick. They're more so like thinner, so I can kind of, finesse it more. And if you do have her size locks and they're about the same size, width-wise and length, you can probably get a wig, but you need to make sure that when you are ordering wigs, you get a large cap size. Not no small, not no medium. Get the largest cap size that you can get, because I'd rather your wig be too big and I can make it fit your head versus your wig being too small. So with that being said, if you do have longer locks, I would recommend always like a frontal in bundles. That way you can add as much as hair as you need. And the frontal, once the frontal is on, there's no need to stretch it left or right. Like, once the frontal is on, it's on, and everything else is just filling the hair in the back. But however, I went ahead and added all the foundation to the lace, and now I'm just going to go in with my layers, spread it out, and then we'll begin to tack down her frontal. And now I went ahead and applied that melt belt. We're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes and then remove it. And I'm gonna go in and go ahead and go in with my lace glider and my scissors, cut the extra lace from around the ears, and then go ahead and razor off all of that extra lace so we could begin our styling process. And yeah, it was my first time actually doing the side swoop with the actual layers like that. But I still overall enjoyed this look. I think it was really cute. And then later on down the line, she had Lala do her touch up, and she switched it to a part down the middle with layers, and both ways were really, really cute. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get all of that extra lace off, get everything razored, comb everything down, and then prep it for styling. And now I'm gonna go ahead and begin parting her hair. I'm gonna do a curved part because one, I always do curved parts too. We are doing a swoop, so I kind of like my parts to go around so I can pull that hair, you know, forward and swoop it easily. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create my C part, get my wax stick, get everything, you know, kind of pre-pressed, pull down this section for the baby hairs, and you know, of course, we're gonna tie down that melt belt for the second time. But I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly kind of prep that you know, that parting area first before actually moving over to the next step. And now that we went ahead and removed that melt belt, oh y'all, that color is so pretty. I ain't gonna lie, this is a very, very pretty color, especially on her skin too. It looks really, really good. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut down the baby hair section, do my 2 little swoops on the sides real quick, and then do my sideburn swoop. And then of course we're gonna get into actually doing the actual swoop bang part of the style. And the key goal to make your swoop very nice, you just want to, you know, hot comb it out and get it as flat as possible, and just really use the right products, aka the wax stick, and, you know, use you some holding spray to swoop and just blend it down to perfection. And you also want to avoid gaps when doing your swoop over part as well, but we will get more into that shortly. When doing my swoop, I always like to start by swooping the back part first. So I'm going to like comb, like, and I like to kind of go in sections when doing my swoop. Like, I comb everything down first, and then I kind of like separate the hairs. But I always start from the top front area first. Like, I just like to comb it over to where, you know, I kind of wanted to start to swoop from, and I just flatten out that top part first. Like, that's kind of like my guideline. Like, once I get that nice and sleek, then I know everything else is going to fall into place. So I just use that holding spray, and then I flatten that top part out really, really good. You just want to hot comb it really good, and like I mentioned before, use some nice, you know, and good holding spray. Then I swoop it in sections going behind the ear. Like, I swoop the part that goes all the way behind the ear first. Like, I work my way from the back to the front. So you will see me swoop the first back piece first, and then I will use the holding spray to kind of like mold that into place, and then I would just swoop each section piece by piece. And you also want to clip out the area out the way that's going to go on top of the swoop. You know how when you have the swoop, it swoops behind your ear, then you have a piece that lays on top of it. So I kind of clip that part out the way, and like I mentioned, I start from the back section of the swoop first. I swoop that behind the ears, and I grab the middle section that's in between the back part and the front part of the swoop. Then I swoop that, and then of course I swoop the very front part last. I know I'm kind of confusing y'all with what I'm saying, but just watch the video and you guys will get a better understanding of what I mean. And as far as the placement for the swoop, you can swoop it over the eyebrow, you can swoop it above the eyebrow. It's really up to your client's preference, but around here we like our swoops to be swooped, if you know what I mean. So our swoops pretty much go across the eyebrow, and then once you have it in position, you can go ahead and apply more holding spray to kind of seal your swoop. That way it won't be moving and all over the place. And then you're gonna take you some bobby pins and secure your swoop at the back part, you know, like behind the ear. You want to just take you a few bobby pins and secure it, and then you comb the hair on top of that swoop area that you had pulled off, you know, like that you had sectioned off in the beginning of the whole swooping process. But once I do that, I will go ahead and, you know, blunt cut the whole wig even, and then I will begin to cut my layers. So I went right ahead and I cut the ends even, just like a nice even blunt cut. And now I'm going to start diagonally cutting with my scissors, and you just want to cut a little bit at a time until you get your desired look. So I'm just going to keep combing everything in the same angle, and I'm just going to keep chopping until I feel like I have enough layers, and then I will go in with my big flat iron and begin to bump everything hard. And once you have one side swoop, you could go ahead, one side cut and like bumped, you could go ahead and do the other side. And just keep playing with it until you get your desired look, as I mentioned. So if you feel like you need to go in and cut a little more layers, do so. If you want light layers, you just cut a little bit. If you want heavy layers, you cut it heavy. It's just up to what your client wants. But like I said, my sisters don't care what I do. They just be like, just do you. So I just went in and did my thing, and then once I'm done with all the layers, I will bump everything, make sure her part is concealed, and that will pretty much sum up this video. But just keep watching, stay tuned for the finishing results, and let me know what you guys think down below about this look and about this color, and also about the tips I gave you with installing over medium length locks. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share, and leave comments below.